Do not adjust your speakers, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special edition of the MAVcast. I am LordofIce72, as always, with TwilightLink21xx. Twilight, are you there?
Yes, I am, and I am coming in loud and clear. It has been way too long, and this is indeed, as you guys have long been awaiting, I presume, my final transmission on this stupid manga.
Well, getting off topic, we really should come up with a schedule to produce these episodes, because otherwise we aren't going to build a fan base.
Yeah, we probably should start getting consistent, so we'll know in the next couple of weeks.
Every other week would be good.
Probably, yeah, especially with the way that wrestling moves, since that seems to be a constant in our chats.
Yeah.
That and anime and manga, I mean, that's where we're at.
Yeah. I did enjoy Monday Night Raw from this past Monday.
That was a good Raw. That was a good Raw. So
anyway, we're not talking about that tonight.
No,
we are talking about one of the worst mangas. I'm going to go on record say that one of the worst manga endings in years.
It's been a while since we've seen one this way. Now, I know we're coming across as really hyperbolic, but you have to realize, guys, for us, we were expecting a little bit better than this.
I was expecting a lot better than this. I mean, this is on my Facebook. I don't know if you follow me on Facebook, dude, but it's like a bad doujinshi turned canon.
Pretty much.
It's just, and that's putting it very, very lightly. I've seen fan fiction written better than this.
Yeah, and I honestly, a lot of it has to do with the fact that and we'll get into it later, I think money really is at play, and I don't mean that Kishimoto sold out per se. I mean that I think that there's some editorial stuff. I think there's editorial stuff that's going on that explains it, but I'll get into that later. So in case you haven't noticed, guys, we are talking about Naruto chapter 699 and chapter 700, probably mostly focusing on 700 more. But basically, let's talk a little bit about our backgrounds with this series for anyone that isn't as familiar. Because this series is actually kind of important to this podcast, because it's actually how we met.
This is very true.
So, Drew, what's your background with Naruto?
Well, like most people, I got suckered into this thing back in 2004 when it started airing on Toonami. I think it was 2004 anyway. I was
04 or 05, something like that.
Yeah, what was it?
04 or 05, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere mid-2000s. And I was basically, I was in junior high school whenever I first started following this manga. I followed the anime first because I saw it on Toonami, of course. And then later on I started following the manga. And to give you some perspective, that was back in 2004 whenever I was 13 years old. That was 10 years ago. I'm 23 years old now. I'm a college graduate. Seeking full-time employment. So that just gives you how much of a history I have with this. Followed it all through high school, fell off a bit of it. I fell off the wagon, so to speak, during my sophomore year of college. I just couldn't take the BS anymore. And even though I stopped reading it, I want to say about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I still kept tabs, what was going on. Nothing too major, nothing too important that I felt like I should go back and reread it again. But I read this morning on the Narusaku website that both me and Twilight Link are members of. Are you still? I don't know if you're still there.
I don't post very often. I pop in from time to time, but that just has more to do with my general apathy towards the series, and that's not anything towards the other members of the fandom at large. I mean, it's a pretty cool site.
It is a cool site. So basically, I feared for the worst when I saw the spoilers. I was basically, I want to say cognitive dissonant, or however much it is, or whatever, however you put it. I was in complete denial from the spoilers. I see this, then I read this morning that it is canon, and well, yeah, I was very disappointed and very, very just.
Yeah,
I can't even put into words how disgusted I am.
It's hard to say
right now.
It's hard to say. Yeah, my backstory of Naruto is a little bit different. I did not have cable growing up. So I did not jump onto the Naruto train in '05. I actually didn't get on until around closer to 2008, 2009. And the way that came about was, it's kind of circular actually. One of my friends introduced me to Bleach through the manga, so that kind of got me back into anime for a bit. And then I stumbled upon Naruto and was hooked very quickly by the first part of the anime, all the canon stuff. I think the first set of episodes I ever saw was Naruto and Jiraiya when they're going to look for Tsunade. Yeah. So that kind of hooked me. So I started going back, watched through all of part 1, and then jumped into the manga for part 2 after I watched a little bit of Shippuden. Shippuden's pacing really made it very difficult to read through. Watch through, my bad. So I ended up diving into the manga, and by the time I got to the manga, we were already pretty deep into the Pain arc. But honestly, to me, I felt like that was kind of where the series peaked. I know a lot of people like to say that it was Sasuke arc in part 1, which I'll admit it is a very strong arc. But I feel like the amount of character growth that we got during the Pain arc just trounces everything that we had in the manga up to that point.
Yes.
And then the series kind of went downhill from there. I muscled through. I figured it's got to get better than this. It's got to get better than this. Then we ended up in that previous arc fight, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is anymore. It all just kind of blended together. But basically, the Ninja War arc, and then whatever the frick that final battle was, that executioner was, just drove me insane. I got really busy with school during the past 3 years. Ended up getting very infrequent with my video reviews, particularly the last 2 years, because I had the second half of my sophomore year. I got busy with an advertising competition, and then last year I transferred over to the University of Texas at Austin for film school. So that's my studies in that have kind of forced me to shift my priorities in terms of the YouTube channel, which there's going to be a major announcement probably at the end of this, and I'll probably do a separate video on that channel to cover that as well, in terms of what's going to happen to the current archive of videos on the channel, because I'm going to be moving it into a slightly different direction, a little bit more polished, a little bit more professional. But anyways, regardless, back to Naruto. It was a really interesting community to dive into, and part of what made me gravitate towards it was the strength of the characters at the time. I stress at the time because, unfortunately, and this is why a lot of us feel that the ending is so poor, is because it basically undoes a lot of what originally attracted me to the series in the first place, which of course was character growth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in and discuss this, because really I feel like this is more than just 699 and 700 where the problems really start to take hold. Where would you say things start to fall apart, in your opinion?
Right after the Pain arc. I mean, you could tell that either Kishimoto lost interest or he just didn't know how to write anymore, which one could argue that he never really knew how to write in the first place. But right after the Pain arc, it should have ended. A lot of people over in the Bleach universe said that Bleach should have ended after the Aizen arc. Well, the Pain arc is basically the Naruto version of the Aizen arc.
Pretty much. I mean, for me, it was after the Pain arc. There were moments that it could have recovered constantly, but it never did. There was clearly there was no plan. It was supposed to end around the 10-year anniversary, and then it stretched on to 15 years, it feels like. And that's really depressing.
Yeah.
That is really depressing, because the thing is that this series, what really made the series tick was the way that the characters were connected to each other, the growth. And that all kind of slowly started to get phased out as part 2 went on. Honestly, this ending was harshest on Sakura, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get to her.
Yeah,
I mean, to say that I feel betrayed at $6.99, $700 is a massive understatement.
Yeah, see, for me, it's weird because I did stick with it a little bit longer than you did, and to me, it's not betrayal so much as it is the prophecy fulfilled at this point. Because I was like, oh my god, it's got to get better somewhere. It's got to get better eventually, and it never did. So for me, this series, it goes out with a whimper instead of a bang. That should have.
I agree completely, and I just can't fathom why Masashi Kishimoto, as a professional, as a writer, as an I don't know if he did the art. Yeah, he's done the art. I just can't fathom why he would sabotage his own manga, and for what? A couple extra greenbacks in his bank account. I mean,
well, it's probably more than a couple extra since he's doing an entire third part.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll get to him because I feel that with this, I think he's just cemented his legacy or lack thereof, that he will never be one of the all-time greats.
Absolutely.
He will be a one-trick pony. Everything else from henceforth, it will never reach the heights that Naruto once did.
Absolutely.
And he won't reach the pinnacle like Rumiko Takahashi, probably one of my all-time favorite mangaka ever. You know, the woman is a legend in the industry. She's behind Urusei Yatsura from back in the 80s, which is still really funny as all crap. Go and read some of that. She did Rama One Half in the 90s, and that's still really funny. And then, of course, probably her most famous work of all is Inuyasha, and a lot of people like to hate on that series.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do.
I like Inuyasha. Yeah. Anyways, no, definitely. I mean, shoot, I don't even think you can't put him in the same sense as Toriyama anymore.
Oh no, absolutely not.
And you can't put him in the same sentence as definitely not Hoshino, because Hoshino, which is of course Full Metal Alchemist, even her second series is which is Silver Spoon, which is a complete departure from what she did with FMA, is actually really solid, even though it's totally different.
I haven't read it yet, but I want to.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a different take on it. But Kishimoto clearly, he's got his one franchise. His brother, I'd say, is going to end up having overall. I mean, Naruto aside, because Naruto is a smash hit. Naruto is a long runner that ended up running too long. Truth be told, his brother is a better mangaka.
Yeah, I know. What's his brother's name? Seishi.
Yeah, Seishi.
Seishi Kishimoto. He did 666 Satan or 666 Satan. However you pronounce that series.
Oh, Parts
I haven't read it yet. I've seen a couple of bits and pieces here and there, but I would definitely have to agree with your assessment. Yes, the younger twin brother is the better mangaka. Yeah,
his art's a little bit better, and he is a much better planner than his older brother.
Yes.
But anyways, regardless. So let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room, because it's not a secret. We're pretty well known in the Naruto fan community for being Narusaku fans, and a lot of people are probably going to be quick to say that is strongly coloring our general dislike of this ending. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it has zero to do with why I think this ending is a piece of bullcrap. Yeah. Because I really, look, at the end of the day, I had accepted that chances are you're not going to get any pairing resolution, and that if we do get pairing resolution, that'd be nice. I'm okay-ish from a moral standpoint with Naruhina. I disagree with it from a narrative standpoint simply because there wasn't enough time put in to back it up.
Exactly.
But, if you're a Naruhina fan, I don't begrudge you. I'm glad you guys got what you wanted. But
I'm not.
Well, look, I don't care at this point. I mean, you get, look at what the victory is. So my issue is more with the handling of Sasuke, the handling of Sakura, which is a complete joke, the implications of that, and more than that, my bigger issue is the lack of consistency across media that's currently happening. Specifically, the issues with the data books. Flat out, a new data book was just released, and it's already contradicting the ending.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, so how quickly was this planned out? When was this planned out? And so on and so forth. It's a really dangerous and slippery slope for manga to keep doing this. And I think that's my real issue with this ending. In addition to the fact that it caps off probably one of the... it could have been worse. It wasn't quite as bad as the previous fight with oh god, what's her name?
It's so horrible.
The mother. I can't even remember her name.
Kushina.
No, Madara's mom.
Oh, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. The mother of the Sage of Six Paths. That was really dumb. That whole fight was dumb. Everything about that part was dumb. Except, like, the only good part of that entire part of the final battle climax was freaking Obito. Now, that was good. That was actually planned out. That was fine.
Like I said, I stopped reading shortly after the Pain arc. I stuck with it for a few more chapters, but I think I quit around like the 580 mark.
You quit shortly after the Sakura confession, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's something like that, because I got sick and tired of defending myself, and I really didn't need to. And I got sick and tired of people spamming me. So I was like, you know what, screw this, and screw you.
Pretty much.
To everyone.
Pretty much. Yeah. So anyways, so let's go ahead and take a look at the ending itself. Finally. Okay. Now that my elephant's out of the room. It's, again, I can't stress this enough. I'm not even going to talk about Narusaku at this point. Like, looking at this ending, forget that. Like, I don't even care about that right now. I mean, I kind of do, in the sense that it's important to Sakura in some senses. But at the same time, that's something that, I'm willing to, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's just talk about why this ending sucks.
Everything. Don't worry.
Yeah, everything will. I mean, this is, again, after this, I am done. I might maybe come back to this in a couple of years when the smoke clears. But as of right now, no, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So we got to talk about everything.
Yep. Like I said, I'm ready when you are.
All right, yeah. I freaking feel like God, Brian Alvarez right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I just might unleash my inner Brian Alvarez. I'm trying not to.
Except for the fish.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
Sting was fine.
12:30 at night.
Sting was fine.
I don't want to wake my parents up.
Yeah, no, we're on the same boat.
But
we're in the same boat. So
all I can do is just laugh because of how ridiculous this series had become and how painfully bad this ending is.
Okay, so because the official translation isn't out yet, I'm going to go with the more coherent of the ones that are out currently on the internet, which would, of course, be the manga stream translation. Go figure. I know a lot of people beat up on them for not being literal, but good translation isn't fully literal when you're dealing with a language like Japanese, just so you know. And there's a couple of points in the Manga Panda, because of how quickly they put it out. There was some stuff that was lost in translation, specifically in 700. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. Chapter opens up with Naruto and Sasuke passed out from the previous chapter. They're both missing an arm. Naruto is right. Sasuke is left. Get some interesting text trying to build up on all this. And then from there, there's the 2-page spread. Then Kakashi and Sakura arrive. Sakura doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
She cauterizes their arms. And then the out-of-characterness starts.
Yeah,
Sasuke apologizes to Sakura for everything up until now. Again, Sasuke apologizes for everything up until now to Sakura with those words.
Oh my god.
Did I mention that three chapters ago, within the past 3 chapters, he's gone from trying to kill her. No, it gets better. It gets better. Her only response is tears. You better damn well be to Shanaro, you jerk.
Yeah.
That's it.
And apparently...
So that we go from the two of them, Sakura willing to basically knowing how bad of a person Sasuke is.
Yes.
And at one point being willing to kill him. To now...
She's reverted back to her fangirl self.
Yeah, no, she's literally gone back to being 13 years old.
It's just... You pretty much shot and killed any character development Sakura...
All of it is gone.
All of it is completely gone.
Everything that happened at the beginning of part 1... I mean, not part 1. Part 2. The end of part 2, the lesson that was supposed to be learned there was no lesson there. And it's constantly gone through the manga that she's constantly being called out for being weak, for needing to stand toe to toe with these guys, and nope. She's not even involved in their final battle, which makes zero sense because every single thing at the beginning kind of hinted that she was going to be pivotal. That, and she would be the one that I guess would turn the tide between these two. But nope, that doesn't happen. And then to make it even worse, we throw out everything that she was supposed to have learned from Lady Chiho at the beginning. Yeah, none of that, nothing ever came of that. And apparently she didn't learn a darn thing from when she basically threw herself to protect Naruto. I don't even know where else to begin with this. I mean, seriously. And even if we gloss over that, if we even just say, okay, well, whatever, it was all a bunch of it was all pairing teases to try and get the fan base to keep talking about it and, spike interest. Even if we take it as that, which clearly it wasn't. Because, why would you even bother, if you know that the pairing is not super popular, why would you even bother throwing that kind of bait in there?
I don't know. Just to keep fans fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, even worse than that. Like, seriously, even if we ignore that part, it doesn't change the fact that you basically are saying Sakura had her crush, she never got over it. And if you're in that position that you have a crush on a bad boy, don't get over it.
Yeah. I mean, and I mentioned this on my Facebook as well. The message that Kishimoto either intentionally or unintentionally said with this to any little girl that was reading the manga, or any young woman or any young lady that was reading this manga, just, girls, if you love a bad boy, even if he tries to kill you at least 3 times, keep on loving him. He'll come around. I mean,
yeah.
If I was a woman, and get that image out of your head, if I was a woman, I would be super offended by this.
It's insulting. It really is. And here's the thing. To make this clear, guys, I am not exactly the most quote-unquote progressive guy out there. I'm not.
Either, and even I'm mad at this.
This is stupid on just about every level. I mean, this just insults the quote-unquote intelligence of the character, and insults the intelligence of a woman in that position. Because after a certain point, I don't care how much you assume women operate on emotion, because that is a traditional view of it. No amount of emotion is going to stop logic from eventually kicking in when the guys try to kill you that many times.
Yeah, I mean,
when there's someone else telling you that you need to be more careful. I mean, yes, it does happen in real life. It does, and it's unfortunate. But this isn't real life. This is fiction, and this is also a shonen manga. And that's what's really scary, is that you're basically telling guys it's okay.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, these are young people. You're basically saying it's okay to think of women as stupid. And that's not okay.
No, that is so not okay.
And you could probably say, well, but then you got the counterbalance with Hinata, but even then, no, not really, because she essentially the girl that the guy gets with doesn't get any attention in the series.
No.
Hardly at all. And there's no real development between the two to speak of. They don't get a chance to actually bond together, which defeats the entire purpose of a relationship. It's just made as a token pairing that just happens to exist, instead of being something that, if there was proper development put into it, if they had moments together, if they had actually grown a bit together,
I wouldn't have as big a problem.
I wouldn't care. I would say, okay, fine. It's not my preferred pairing, but at least it makes sense. With how it's done here, it's just hastily slapped together, and that's not fair to the pairing. That's not fair to the characters, because it should be a solid romance where there's some actual development between the two that's more than just a few words,
Yeah, and a lot of people will say, well, how can you say Sakura... how can you blame Sakura for not giving up on her love, or however, whatever the hell I'm supposed to be saying here? I'm sorry, folks, it's late night. How can you bash Sakura for not giving up on Sasuke, yet praise Naruto for not not giving up on Sakura, or however? But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, it's simple, because it's
Naruto's nature.
Yeah. Well, even more than that. Even more than that, there's a huge difference between Naruto pursuing Sakura because he cares about her and wants her to be happy, and choosing to occasionally take the back seat for her happiness. There's a huge difference between that, which is being more selfless about it, and being willing to accept that maybe she doesn't like me that way, and being okay with that. There's a big difference between that and what Sakura not giving up on what is essentially a one-way abusive relationship. And that's the other thing. There's no reason for Sasuke to like Sakura. Even the speech that Kakashi gives is, frankly, for lack of a better term, and this is the only time probably you're going to hear me ever use this kind of language on the internet, folks, so relish it while you can, half-assed at best.
It is a cop-out of what Kakashi said. It just, I don't know, I'm still frustrated beyond belief at this manga. I mean, just all this time, and we get this.
Yeah. After that, I mean, we can probably touch up on that in a bit more later, but after that, the rest of the chapter is pretty much just monologue, wrapping things up between Naruto, basically this Naruto, Sasuke gets this monologue where he resolves everything, which is fine, I guess.
I take issue with that.
I mean, it does. The problem is that there's not enough setup for Sasuke to have the turn. He goes way too quickly from raging psychopathic lunatic to totally zenned out. I totally screwed up. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I have
it's major whiplash.
Yeah, it's not just a Sasuke character that I'm mad about. It's that this world, this fictional world that I thought was set up well, is completely screwed up. I mean, in no way, shape, or form should Sasuke be let off this easy.
Yeah.
He committed treason by actually leaving the village. He became a missing nin. So that's automatically, you would think that with their court system that I supposedly thought was there in this world, you would think that just that by that act alone, they would hunt him down and kill him. I mean, with the Anbu Black Ops and whatnot.
Granted, Kakashi does explain that, this is a one-off thing that would never have worked. You'd be locked away in prison for life. The only reason your wishes are being entertained at all, your actions up till now, is because your A was instrumental in dispelling the infinite Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi. And he says even that by itself didn't get you off the hook. This is because of the support of the hero, the central force named the War, which would be Naruto, and myself as a sixth Hokage. Make sure you keep that in mind. The problem is that, those two would try to bail him out, but I still struggle with the fact that they basically bail him out that way.
There's not a jury in the world that would have bailed Sasuke out. There's
a full pardon makes zero sense.
Yeah,
he should have at least gotten some time, or been exiled. You know what he should have gotten? Exile.
Or at least life in prison. I would have been. I still say that they should have put him to death.
Yeah, honestly, truth be told, Sasuke should have died at the end of that battle with Naruto, truth be told. I stand by that, because the problem is that him living, yes, I get what you're trying to do, which is this idea that, the forgive and forget thing, but the problem is that he's already stepped too far to where you can simply do that and have it be practical. I get that's manga. I get that's fictional. I should be willing to hand wave some of this stuff. The problem is that it's not consistent with what he's done in the past.
Yeah. Completely agree. And I think he's still too far gone in this. And sorry, music started popping up here.
It's all good.
But he was too far gone to be redeemed in any conceivable way. The only way that he was going to be redeemed was through a body bag. And if they brought him back to the village, he would have been tried, he would have been found guilty, and they would have either A, killed him, or he would be serving consecutive life sentences in prison, never to be let out.
I mean, the thing that people forget is how many people he's actually killed. People forget that he actually killed people. I don't think people understand that. Sasuke was killing people, okay? And was instrumental to the war starting. That's the problem. That's where the inconsistency lies. He's instrumental to the entire war starting, and he's also instrumental to it ending. That's fine, but you still gotta pay your dues for starting the whole thing.
Yeah,
there's no getting around. He started it in the Kage Summit arc. He's responsible for this whole thing, which is why it would have been better, in my opinion, and I stress, this is my opinion. All of this is our opinion. But anyways, it would have been probably more fitting of an end for him to have died in the final battle, protecting Naruto.
Exactly.
Taking a bullet for a brother and basically atoning, quote unquote, for the sins that he committed, which is literally starting the whole friggin' war.
Yeah, he started a world war and he gets off scot-free. Think about that for a moment, would you?
And the thing is that it would have been more poetic, in my opinion, had he done that, because he would have also brought an end to the conflict between Uchiha and oh god, no, not that, the other bloodline, Naruto's bloodline, Senju.
Yes.
Yeah, he would have brought an end to that conflict. Yes, he would have died, but he would have died a hero and a martyr, rather than and a product of a world and system of hatred, rather than him being what he is now, which is a criminal and outlaw that, you know, basically was bailed out by his deadbeat buddies.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, and
really makes the Leaf Village look like a pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, if I was any of the other surrounding village, like the like stone or sand, I would be like, we're declaring war on these guys tomorrow. We'll take over the entire village in 2 weeks. You couldn't take over Baltimore in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, we're focusing too much on that one. Yeah,
we really are, but it's hard not to because that really is my biggest problem with this ending. He basically says goodbye to Kakashi and Sakura, and that whole thing is stupid.
Yeah, because correct me if I am wrong, but didn't Sakura even offer to go with Sasuke?
Yep, and he says nope.
So even now, up until this point, he's still belittling Sakura.
Basically, yeah, because he even gives her the finger tap and then says thank you, leaves. It's really dumb. It really is dumb. And then he says goodbye to Naruto. And then it goes on with the poetic stuff, which is fine. The poetic stuff and the parallels are fine, I guess. I mean, like, I'm not going to be too hard on it because some of it is fine. But again, I can't stress this enough. At the end of the day, there's not enough development for Sasuke's character for this to work. It was basically thrown through the cannon. And think about what it was that got him to face turn, basically. Even though he wanted to beat the living crap out of Naruto at the end of the day. Which would have been a much better... Even then, getting that fight, if they had just, finally ended it there, with both of them dying, would probably even be a better ending in this. But, the biggest problem is that the whole reason he turns is because he basically gets a talking from the Hokages. The dead Hokages are the ones that convince him to change his ways. Not Itachi, not Naruto, it's the Kages. People he's never even met in his freaking life, except for one of them, and even then didn't really have an established relationship with. Seriously?
This isn't the Jedi Council. You can't just...
Dude, even the Jedi Council wasn't able to get away with that. The Jedi Council ended up all getting their butts handed to them by friggin' Anakin Skywalker in Episode 3. I'm just saying. And those aren't even great storytelling. Still more competent than this. That's pretty bad.
Alright. So anyway...
That's chapter 699.
Yeah, that's all of it. So
should have ended there even.
Yeah, but just for the recap, so we have Sakura reverting back to her 13-year-old fangirl self. So that pretty much buries any character development that she ever had throughout this entire manga ever. We have Sasuke, for whatever reason, turning good, even though he really had no intention to, until he basically had a, quote, come to Jesus meeting with the 5 Hokages that he's never met except outside of one. And we basically have Naruto...
4, not 5.
Say what?
4, not 5. So he's not there.
Oh, 4. I'm sorry. And so we have Naruto acting like a total chump. Or it seems like he's a total chump because of this. Why is this series called Naruto again?
Because at some point it was supposed to be his story. But as it turns out, no, Titus, it's not your story.
Yeah.
This is Sasuke's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So fast forward to chapter 700, and this is where the horror really begins, because it's basically a couple years in the future.
Not a couple. It's more than that. It's about
several.
10.
Yeah. Several years into the future, and Naruto is Hokage, so yay for that, but outside that, everything is just utter crap. Like I said, folks, it's the world's worst Naruto doujinshi come to life, or not come to life, but becoming canon.
Okay, I am not even going to go into the details on this one because I don't even need to explain my issues with this. Problem number one is you are flat out, you're not leaving anything to the imagination. This is all one big marketing ploy to get your butt in the seat for Naruto the Last and to get you to pick up the third part of the series, which is a mini-series that's going to revolve around the kids.
They're ugly, hideous,
not well designed at all.
Not well designed kids that are named after food groups. Which that's not an uncommon thing in manga, but still, it's really stupid.
The naming conventions are really dumb when you compare it to what the original had. Simple as that. The only name that's semi-competent is Bolt, whose name in Japanese is really stupid.
Yeah.
Boruto, which is basically one character difference from Naruto. Really?
Yeah. I mean, they're
I get what they're referencing. I guess he's going to be stupid fast like his granddad, but really? He's one of the few ones that has an okay design. This is okay. He gets a pass.
Yeah. And I just... Okay, so basically, everyone knows by now Naruhina and Sasaku are canon. And yes, I pronounce it Sasaku because it's pronounced Sasuke, not Sasuke.
There you go.
So basically, like we are reiterating, two pairings with very, very, very little, if not any, mutual romantic development throughout the entire series. And I say mutual, that's the key word here.
Yeah, because there is a lot of one-sidedness. I mean, I'm not gonna bury Hinata. Not on this one. I've got problems with her character being paper thin, but that has more to do with no time being put into her.
Yeah, and I have issues with Hinata's character as well, considering that basically she was the entire her purpose for the entire manga was just pairing fodder.
Yeah, no, I do have a problem with that. I do have a problem with that, but again, not going to be as harsh on her as I'm going to be on the others.
Yeah, and so Naruto and Hinata have a couple kids, but and I've come to accept that because since Sakura reverted back to her 13-year-old fangirl self, I pretty much just gave up on her. And
yeah,
I wouldn't want to be with her either after she flat out freaking used Naruto throughout the entire series. And this is proof. This chapter 700 is proof.
Yeah,
that she's nothing. But I can't say it. I really can't. But she used Naruto throughout the entire series, and that's unforgivable. And well, Sakura, she gets her wish. She marries Sasuke. They have a daughter who looks like Karen, right down to the glasses for some reason. Because
his name's Salad.
Name Salad or Sarado or however you pronounce it.
They're gonna have to call her Sarada in the West. No one's gonna take it seriously otherwise.
Yeah, and so Wendy Spicy Chicken Salad or whatever her name is. So we have Sakura, who wanted to be a medical ninja, who was probably going to surpass Tsunade if she didn't already. And yet she marries Sasuke Uchiha, the psychopath that's tried to murder her 3 times. Just as a reminder, they have a daughter, and now she's a simple housewife.
Yeah.
So remember, young ladies, if you have dreams and you want to be a strong, independent woman, just give it all up and become a housewife and just squeeze out babies.
It's so dumb. It is so dumb. It is just, oh my god, where do I even begin? Literally every single element that made Sakura stand out as a character in Part 2 gets thrown under the bus. I don't know why. I don't know if this is the result of maybe it's partially because of all of the love that was thrown around. Oh my god, why is this not more like Part 1? Oh my god, why can't we go back to Part 1? I don't know if it's a combination of that, or it's the fact that Kishimoto knows that he's going to alienate the majority of his fan base if he chooses to not go with Naruhina and Sasaku, if he's going to be doing a sequel series that revolves around the kids. That's probably what it is, truth be told.
It's
because you have to realize, one of the biggest things that's changed in the past 5 years is that Shueisha has actually become a very globally minded company. Very globally minded company. I mean, we get releases in America day of release, and that's unheard of. I mean, like, all this, like, technically right now, the manga hasn't actually even come out in
it's
Japan
supposed to come
yet.
out Monday.
Yeah, but officially, we will be getting scans on Monday. And that, again, unheard of. So Naruto is more popular outside of Japan than it is within Japan. So something tells me, knowing this, they said you need to appeal to the broader fan base, the international fan base, and these are the characters they like, and this is how we're going to be able to make money off of them, because, as you guys probably have noticed, Naruto's popularity within Japan has been starting to wane quite a bit. I wonder why.
Gee, could it be something to do with the god-awful piss-poor writing?
Possibly. Maybe it has more to do with the terrible pacing and the fact that we literally just went through 2 years of filler fights.
Ugh. So, Naruto and Hinata, they get together, they have a little happy family. Hinata, I don't know, if I was her, I'd just stop being a ninja because my husband's the Hokage. I don't need to work another day in my life. I could just, again, like Sakura, become a housewife and squeeze out babies whenever I need to.
Yeah, the women all got
really
screwed
that
in this
much
series.
of a life? Is that really a fulfillment?
Well, okay, to be fair, for some women, yes. For some women. Not for all women, but for some women, yes.
Yeah, I never.
And it's also important to realize that is the norm in Japan still.
Unfortunately. But here's what I take issue with Naruhina becoming canon. And believe me, I'm absolutely furious that both Naruhina and Sasaku became canon. But one of my favorite characters, Neji, if you remember, he got killed off. He got killed off for practically nothing. Except he was basically fodder for Naruhina to become the catalyst. He was the catalyst that made Naruhina become canon, if you really want to think of it that way. So one of my favorite characters, Neji Hyuga, cousin of Hinata, one of the most incredible characters in the manga, I think, gets killed for nothing. That is unacceptable. He was one of my favorites, and they kill him off for no friggin' reason. And they're placing flowers on his grave. It's like, my God, this really is happening. I would have been so much happier had they not have any pairings at all. Honestly,
I agree. Honestly,
it should have just ended with Naruto becoming Hokage, and that's it.
Yeah, no pairings, no nothing, and we can go into the far future, and you can hint at who got together with who if you really so desperately need a third part. Actually, that'd be more fun, because then we can have future Naruto.
Exactly.
But whatever. I mean, that's all armchair booking and speculation. Coming from a couple of guys that are, for years, have been out of the demographic that this series is aimed at. I mean, what? Okay, here's the weird thing, though. When this series started in 1999, let's take this from the perspective of someone that's been reading it since the beginning. This series started in 1999.
I was 8 years old at the time.
I was 6.
6 or 7.
I was 6. Here we are today. If we would have stuck with it, we're now adults, out of college. I'm almost graduating. Drew's out.
I got my degree. I'm working. You're about to finish your degree.
Exactly.
You're about to go into the world of film. Are you going to be a director or an animator or whatever? Don't know yet.
Kind of trying to get that all sorted out right now.
You're going into the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
So
it's a very fluid industry right now, in case you haven't noticed. But yeah, no, seriously though, in that time, that's happened. You'd think he'd throw us a bone, but apparently not.
So
basically,
it's just bruh. You know that meme with, I think it's Kevin Hart
Yeah.
Yeah, brah. I just had that reaction whenever I saw it. Whenever I saw the chapter 699, 700, the betrayal. I'm dubbing those two chapters.
Yeah. I mean, some people were fine with it. I talked to some folks at university. Most of them are younger than me. Go figure. But which is to be expected. But I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, this series was taken out back and put down. I'm not going to say we got screwed. We got what we deserved.
No.
We did. We did.
Screwed.
We did. We did get what we deserved because we put too much faith into the manga. Well, no, it's not even an idiot in the manga system. We put too much faith in Jump, expecting their creators to basically do better than this. Because honestly, this is an issue. I keep referencing Bakuman a lot in these podcasts, and there's a reason for that, guys. Have you had a chance to read that yet?
I was reading it a while ago, and for whatever reason, I stopped. I think it's because I got addicted to Attack on Titan, which is amazing.
I strongly recommend going back to it, and I'm going to always refer to this. If you really want to know why this stuff happens, and why you go through stretches where the writing can be so piss poor, and why all of a sudden it'll shift, and why the tone shifts so constantly. Especially when you look at Naruto, which had been... Oh, God. Kishimoto went through so many editors at the end of this.
He went through editors like I go through popcorn.
Yeah, at the end of this series. Guys, the manga industry is a mess. If you think that Western comics are bad, and believe me, they are bad. Editorial mandates are pretty bad in the Western comic industry.
They're bad for different reasons, though. But anyway, that's beside the point.
At least in that, you have the excuse of these are characters that have certain, that have been around for a while, so we gotta be more careful with them. This is different. This is an original work by the creator, basically being forced to bend over backwards to whatever your editor feels will make more money. And
You're basically at the mercy of your corporate overlord.
Pretty much. And again, that's not to say that necessarily. I'm not saying that Sasaku and Narihina are a result of that. I'm not saying that. It's possible that Kishimoto intended that, and that all the Narisaku moments were a result of executive meddling. That's possible too. I'm not saying one way or the other which way they were.
I would bet you dinner at Chili's that it is.
But basically, what I am saying is that if you take a look at Bakuman, you'll find that this crap happens very often. And that in a lot of ways, I'm surprised that manga exists.
What, Bakuman?
And that it was published by Jump. It's a really good series, but it does show that some of the messier side that you don't hear about very often with manga. It's a rough industry.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a manga artist, you pretty much, you dedicate yourself to a life of poverty until you make it big, which is very slim. You have a very slim chance of doing. And you're doing it most likely in Tokyo, Japan, the most expensive city in the world, where a bottle of water costs $10 out of a vending machine.
Yep.
So, and you're probably going to ruin your health because you can't afford to eat properly. And you're spending more time at the office than you are at home, and that's probably going to put a strain on your family life. And that is if you can even find someone to settle down with and have children with. I think Kishimoto has a daughter, Masashi Kishimoto, not his twin brother. I think he has a daughter, and I really hope he takes a good long look at himself in the mirror and realizes what message he just conveyed to his daughter. But anyway.
Well, at the same time, you gotta look at how he's going forward this next part. That might be the whole reason he did what he did, possibly. So, I don't know. It's a whole mess. I don't want to keep up with the series because of how, it's gonna... Again, this is, for me, my final transmission on Naruto for at least 2 years. I am not touching this thing with a stick. I probably am going to take a good hard look at the tankobon that I have left and decide which ones I'm going to keep and which ones I'm going to throw out, just because, I'm not attached to the series anymore.
Well, don't throw them out, sell them.
No, that's what I mean by throw them out, sell them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean by that. Because we have half-price books here, which is fantastic, and they're always in need of manga, so yeah. But, yeah, no, I mean, like...
we basically spent 10 years of our lives.
Yeah.
And in the end, we got the manga version of the movie 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know about that movie?
Yes, I do.
Starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
The little kid from Third Rock from the Sun. And I forget the actress's name. And apparently that's one of Kishimoto's favorite movies. And after viewing these last 2 chapters, I believe it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So, Kishimoto, I hope you're happy with yourself. I personally hope you never make another manga ever again, but I know you are because Part 3 is confirmed. I hope it gets killed in the sales department, in the sales category.
Yeah. I mean, I usually don't wish ill on creators.
I'm not wishing ill on him personally.
Yeah.
I don't want him to die.
I mean, like, even with their creative endeavors, I usually don't wish ill on them. But in this case, knowing that all of his other attempts to get something off the ground have failed, he's tried to get one-shots multiple times, and that probably is a big part of why Naruto dragged on as long as it did, because he was trying to figure out, okay, well, I gotta put this one to bed, but I also gotta pay the bills, so what am I gonna do in order to try and make this work?
Like I said, one-trick pony.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Wonder.
It's a bummer. Yeah. So, anyways, overall, obviously, I'm giving this ending out of a 5 scale, a 1.5.
I don't use oh, sorry, I didn't. Were you finished speaking?
Yeah. No, I'm. Go. Well, yeah. I
don't do numbered scores, because numbered scores I think are stupid, because you can't take stuff like characters, plot, setting, story duration, throw it all into a blender and get a number. But I would like to leave you all with a quote from one of my favorite movies, Billy Madison. If you've seen this movie, which I'm presuming most of you have, you know where I'm going with this. But Mr. Kishimoto, what you have just written is one of the most insanely idiotic things we have ever read. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response was there anything that could ever be considered a rational thought. Everyone that has read this manga is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Good day to you, Mr. Kishimoto.
A little more extreme than I'm willing to go.
And that's my mic drop. So, Kishimoto, screw you. I hope I'm never going to read another one of your manga again, and you're not going to get another penny. I just wish I could get all my money and all my time that I wasted on this piece of garbage back. But unfortunately, I can't ask for a refund for time.
Well, that's also the hard part, because you have to ask yourself, what did we get out of this? What did we really get out of this? Because I
got a middle finger out of this. I don't know what you got out of it.
Well, okay, look, here's the thing. When we look at a media text like this, which is, a long-running series, a lot of the times, in order to justify things, we have no choice but to look at it as the sum of its parts. The fact of the matter is that if I look at everything I got out of this stupid series, all the way up to the Pain arc, if I look at what I got out of it, I got some really good connections with some different people. Got to interact with a community that, at the time, was very, very active, and I met a lot of good people. Met you through it.
Yeah,
so that's a plus.
There is one thing to take away from it, is that I did get to meet some awesome people in the community, and
I enjoyed it up to that point. And if I can, if I were to just look at those parts, and again, I have a different perception of things because I am a media creator. For me, it's not wasted time, because for me, it's a lesson. Even this ending is a lesson for me, and I think it needs to be a lesson to other people that are looking into going into the media industry. If you are going to plan something, plan it.
And don't waver. Don't change
stick
plans.
to your guns, because it's going to work out better. You don't need to be throwing people through the ringer like this without definitive endings to anything that can be perceived as in the way.
This is one of the reasons why I love Fairy Tail, because Hiro Mashima, and I will say this right now, Kishimoto won't even be on the same level as Hiro Mashima, because Hiro Mashima had a successful work before his latest work, Fairy Tail. Hiro Mashima is very straightforward with his planned couples that are most likely going to happen. Natsu and Lucy, Gray and Juvia, Gerard and Urza. The list goes on and on and on. And you can tell that this is the direction he's going in. He's not going to pull a red herring. He's not going to jerk us around and have Lucy flirt with Gray a little bit, but you basically know what you're getting into with this.
And even if you are going to play with the love triangle angle, which is totally fine, there's nothing wrong with doing that, you need to be more clear which way you're going to lean and make it to where you get to a point to where there is no questioning on which way the dice are going to fall.
Yeah,
you need to be more deliberate with that, because the fact of the matter is, like it or not, Kishimoto put way too many teases proportional to, if you look at the teases of Naruhina on a number scale to the teases of Narusaku on a number scale,
Narusaku trounces it.
It does, like on the numbers, by the numbers. Even if we do look at it as platonic, their platonic relationship has more time spent on it than the quote-unquote romantic relationship. That's a problem. I'm sorry. When your title character is spending more time with his, more meaningful time, I stress, with the character that's supposed to be his sister, essentially, there is a problem with that.
Exactly.
Again, quality time. I'm not saying that, Hinata need to be all over it. I'm just saying that you needed to spend more time developing the relationship between Hinata and Naruto. That way it actually felt like it meant something, instead of being something that's kind of cobbled together towards the end. And that's something that as media creators, people like myself need to look at it and say, yeah, I'm not doing that.
I don't even mind the love triangles so much. In fact, I quite enjoy it so long as you do it correctly. So long as you spend equal time with the person at the center of the love triangle, whether it's a girl and two guys or a guy and two girls, make the one individual spend equal amount of time with both prospects. That way I could say, okay, I could see it, I could see the girl ending up with this guy for reasons ABC, and I could see the girl ending up with this guy for reasons X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Now,
that way, no matter who she picks, I'll be fine. I'll be cool with either one, because I see where they're going with this. Now, I might have a preferred pairing. I would prefer the girl to go with option A as opposed to option B, but if a girl goes with option B, I could say, okay, it still makes sense. But with Naruhina and Sasaku, none of this makes a darn bit of sense.
Yeah. And here's the other thing to tie into that. Because we all know that it's clear that the romantic pairings were never meant to be as big as they were. Kishimoto had them in there, but they weren't the focus. That's another thing you gotta be careful with. You can't just shove it to the side and say, well, I'm gonna have it there, but I'm not gonna think about it. No. People latch onto characters. Yes. This series got as popular as it was because people were interested in the characters. And this is something that's a trend over media as a whole that's driving me batty, which is people not understanding people like characters. People are naturally drawn to characters. People want to see how characters relate to each other.
It's called living vicariously through characters.
You need to make sure that when you're developing relationships between characters, you actually spend some time thinking through how you're going to have them react to each other. That way it feels more natural. If you have an intention between these two characters, you got to be a little bit more deliberate about it. There is a balance between being, giving the audience just enough and giving them too much. Absolutely. But, yeah, if you're going to be having a character-driven piece, I don't care how much you care about action and whatnot. Like it or not, this is going to happen. People are going to care about who ends up with who, especially when you throw in the love triangle there. So, flat out, you can't do it half-heartedly. You have to think it through. Sorry if you suck at doing romantic relationships, but you're going to have to. You're gonna have to. There's no getting around it. So, take some time, read some different novels that are outside the space that you normally inhabit. Take some time, read some classical literature from different parts of the world, and try and figure out what it is that people are drawn to. Study some mythology. World mythology.
Take a humanities class in college. If you're a college student, take a humanities class as an elective. Trust me, I did it. One of the best things I ever did.
For me, most of what I've learned in terms of narrative, I learned by just sitting down and studying different series and different genres. And ultimately, the biggest influence on me is studying the works of Joseph Campbell.
You know more about that than I do. I don't read too many novels. I don't read too many novels outside of Tom Clancy or George R.R. Martin. I just got into the Game of Thrones novels.
Nice. Yeah, I've been reading through those myself. No, Joseph Campbell is a guy that studied myth, and all of his books are basically nonfiction dissections of world mythology and how they all kind of connect and how you can see themes repeating and whatnot and how they speak to the human condition. It's really cool, and I strongly recommend looking into that. It's actually the number one inspiration for George Lucas for Star Wars. I know, prequels, whatever. He did all this. This is how the original trilogy was as good as it was, because he actually took time to study that, look at that, understand monomyth, and execute it generally well. Generally speaking, he executed it pretty well.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that all being said, that I think, unless you got anything else.
No, I don't have anything else. I've said what I need to say. Kishi, never write again. Do us all a favor. Never write another manga ever again after Naruto, because it's clear that you are not fit for this industry, because you just flat out suck if you can't make anything outside of your biggest hit. It be successful.
Take a break.
Say what?
My advice to Masashi Kishimoto is, once this micro series is done, take a break, take a good look at it. Yeah, no, take some time off. Spend some time with your kids. Recharge. And if you're going to continue, if you choose to come back to manga, you're going to really, really have to look at a lot of what's going on right now in the manga space, and you're going to have to probably plan a lot more in advance. You're going to have to try something pretty different.
Don't bend so easily to the will of your editors.
Yeah. Probably should go talk to Oba and Obata.
Yeah. Obata, that name sounds familiar.
Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. Obata is currently illustrating the All You Need Is Kill manga.
Okay.
Which is the
and it's One Piece.
No, that's Oda, not Oba. Oba is the writer who works with Obata on Death Note and on Bakuman.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dynamic duo.
Yeah.
All right, I have to get back to reading not Death Note. I need to get back to reading Bakuman as soon as possible.
Yes.
But I don't know. Life goes on. I'm really disappointed in Kishimoto. once again, I hope he never writes again. I don't want him to die. I don't want him to be maimed. I don't want anybody to go to his house and light a bag of dog turds on fire, then he stamps it out. I don't want anything like that to happen, but I really hope that he never writes another page of manga ever again because of this. I just feel completely betrayed by this.
All right. Well,
but that goes on.
That will just about do it for us. For me, expect to see a video coming up probably within the next few days regarding what I'm going to be doing with the channel. Long story short, I am looking at setting everything to private and basically locking out the entire archive of videos, simply because, one, they're all analysis on the fly, so they really don't have that much value at all at this point, since the series is now complete. I'd be keeping them simply for sentimental purposes, just because I can't drive myself to just delete the whole thing, which I probably should, in order to make space for what I've got coming up on the channel. You probably will see the channel's name change, so just a heads up on that too, because my brothers are indeed going to be coming in on the fold on that, because we are looking at a more professional layout going forward. So be on the lookout for that. I think our first video is currently going to be a little off kilter, not our typical output, and it's going to be gaming related.
Good.
So stay tuned for that, and then we'll also be looking at some different animes coming up, including on our short list things to look forward to: our Gundam 00, Full Metal Alchemist, both the 2003 and Brotherhood versions, and a few others that are a bit more recent that we'll be getting to that I would rather not disclose here. So, again, be on the lookout for that. And I probably will start doing some Star Wars videos as we get closer to the release of Episode 7.
Yep.
Especially since it's looking like the EU lives on in spirit.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about.
Well, anyway, I am very disappointed. I can't keep saying this enough. Disappointed in Naruto, but I'll live. I'll recover. I basically moved on to other manga, including Shingeki no Kyojin, which is a million times more entertaining than Naruto has been these past several years. So, anyway, I've just moved on now. I've said my piece, and I'm done with it.
All right. Well, then, without further ado, guys, I'm TL.
I'm LordofIce72.
And thanks for joining us. Signing out for the final time on Naruto. God bless. Have a great day.